What are our procedures to maximize cover counts while ensuring a smooth service?
I think that really comes from circling back to the responsibility of the assistant general manager, who will really have the best in-tune idea of what's going on with the door and how many reservations are coming in. So I think that it's important to review and understand that there is an ideal turn time that we are looking for to maximize these reservations, and also communicating that with the hostess team to know how many covers they can take, how many covers they can't take, and really setting the tone for how aggressive they can be through management support.
How many minutes should elapse between first course cleared and second course delivered?
It should be no more than 10 minutes.
How many minutes should elapse between large party orders going into the kitchen?
It should be about 20 minutes.
How long is the turn time at your outlet?
For smaller parties, it's usually about an hour and 15 minutes. For anything larger, from let's say 4 to 6, it's about an hour and a half to an hour and 45. And then for parties of 8 or more, it generally is around that 2-hour mark.
How do you influence your team in a positive way?
I think that just understanding, no matter how stressful things get, we're all professionals. It's all things that we've done before. And no matter how hard this particular service might be, it's going to end and the next one's going to start. And I think that just being that voice of letting everyone know that everything's going to be okay, and also that you're there to support them with whatever they might need, is the number one thing to keeping everyone positive.
How do you lead your team during service?
I think leading the team during service, at least from my end, I just try and be as involved as I can. Rolling up my sleeves, getting my hands dirty, clearing tables for them, so that they know that I'm a part of everything that they're doing. And if they were to need me for anything, that I'm just a simple signal away to help them out.
What was the last thing you taught a team member?
I think it was conflict resolution. They had a certain interaction with another team member, and not to say that it got hostile, but it definitely left on a negative result. And touching base with each of them and saying that ultimately at the end of the day, they're here together. They're here for the same reason, and while they're not going to see the same path to get to the same goal that they're trying to achieve, they are striving for the same goal. And I think coaching them through that conflict resolution is very rewarding, because that's something that they take with them over the course of time, and hopefully you don't have to do again.
How do you bring stability and calm to each service?
I think, again, preparation is key. Knowing that the team knowing that as a leader you are fully prepared going into the service, that you have fully prepared them to go into the service. And preparation also counts for the variables that you can't see, right? And that comes from training the team, giving them the proper materials, the proper support and guidance through the service, so that should something unfortunately go wrong, God forbid it does, they have the tools and the support to be able to execute it.
In your outlet, what responsibility do you have of amplifying daily, weekly, and monthly revenue?
So for daily, it all starts at the door, and just making sure that we're taking, maximizing our covers for what we can. On a weekly sense, it's forecasting, looking at the reservations ahead and seeing what we've got coming in, and whether we need to revisit a couple of the grassroots initiatives that we've got going on for the week. Concierge visits are one of my favorite things to do during the week when I've got a little bit of extra time, and we've always seen that helps bring a couple extra covers through the week. On a monthly scale, I work very closely, at least 1 to 2 hours a day, with my sales and marketing team to make sure that we've got our email campaigns that are being blasted out appropriately, that we have reached out to our local businesses, inviting in executive assistants, just so that we can make sure that we are driving the business on that scale.
Is there transparency around monthly or daily, weekly, and monthly revenue goals?
There's transparency amongst the leadership team, and I think on a daily scale, the line level team has a certain idea of what constitutes a busy night versus what doesn't constitute a busy night. But we try not to be as transparent in terms of daily, weekly, and monthly numbers, because we want to keep the focus on other aspects that would translate to our goal. But the leadership team fully knows, what our daily goal is, what our weekly goal is, and what our monthly goal is through our weekly manager meetings that we conduct.
How do you enhance sales and profitability?
I think enhancing sales on the base level comes from just providing great service to the guests and making sure that they're coming back, training the team on sales tactics and taking opportunities of upselling, things of that nature. And then in terms of, I think, scaling beyond that, when you look at profitability, it's making sure that we're managing our costs appropriately, whether it's staffing costs and labor, scheduling appropriately, or making sure that our cost of goods for beverage and our food are in line on a daily basis, which I think is very important.
What is the most important skill or skills that you need to be able to build a good relationship with your guests?
I think the most important skill is conversation and just being able to communicate. Because if you can't communicate what you're feeling, just like in any realm, you're never going to be able to execute what your vision is. And Warren Buffett actually said it best. It's like blinking at a girl in the dark. It's never going to have an effect if the lights aren't on, and that light is your ability to communicate. So even if I feel like I'm the most hospitable person in the world, if I can't communicate that with my guests and make them feel welcome, then what my actions are will never come to be. So I think that's the most important thing.
What are the key areas that should be obsessed over when it comes to cleanliness?
I think bathroom is definitely the number one thing, and I think it's overlooked, unfortunately sometimes. But it's definitely a aspect of the restaurant that I think is the most important. It's a reflection of, I think, the general cleanliness, because it's kind of hidden away, but it's also a facility that everybody uses, obviously not for the most clean things at times. So I think to always have that be an immaculate part of the restaurant is very important.
Describe the importance of a clean, organized dining room, credenza, side station, storage area, restrooms, and office.
Yeah, I mean, it's having a clean restaurant, I think, translates to just how we work as a whole, and clean is not only sanitary, obviously, it's a way of keeping the team, I think, subconsciously organized in their thoughts, but also in the way that they work. It's a larger scale thing that if everybody just chips into a little bit, really goes a long way, and it's always a philosophy that we try and embody.
Rate how clean that these stations are in your restaurant.
I'm kind of a tough critic, so I'm always going to say it's right around a 7 or an 8. I think 9 or a 10 would be immaculate and perfect, and I think we always strive to get there, but because there's so much cleaning that needs to take place every day, I think that 7 or an 8 is where we average, but obviously 9 or 10 is our goal, and that's what we're striving for every day.
What are you doing on a daily basis to drive cleanliness in the organization?
Every single day, essentially every person is tasked with an opening cleaning duty and a closing cleaning duty. And that goes from everything from a server credenza to the bathrooms, to the locker rooms, to the storage area. And I think that having a lot of people pitch in a little bit is the most effective way to keep a clean restaurant.
Describe how you work with your team to strategize for a better service based on staffing and reservations.
We strategize every day as a management team, and I think that sharing that strategy with our team members, whether it's at the door on a smaller scale with the host team or on a larger scale with our service team, is very important. We always have a plan, we're always prepared, but again, being able to communicate that plan of attack is very, very important.
Do you push to make sure you have important information on any VIPs?
1,000%. Having important information on every single one of our VIPs is something we push for at the daily manager meeting. And then also, as soon as the guest sits down, all of the host team members are instructed to communicate that information directly to management as a sense of redundancy, but just to make sure that nothing is missed.
Are you preparing for the service a day ahead?
Absolutely. That's why we review the covers, staffing level, everything that we can the day before, just to make sure that we don't miss anything the day of.
Do you ever ask for help, and what triggers you to ask for help?
Absolutely. I think that not asking for help can be silly, especially with this company where we have so many outlets for support. And I think asking for help is actually a big sign of a good leader, knowing that when having somebody else support you is going to be more effective than just you trying to go through it on your own, and but also obviously to find balance, right? To not overly ask for help that's unnecessary, but just when it's needed, 100%.
Why is staff engagement so important?
I think staff engagement is very important because to have your team believe in a vision, it's really the most effective way to reach that goal. Because if the team does not share the same goal, does not share the same vision, they'll never get behind that same level of passion and intensity that's needed to get to that goal.
Why is engagement at the door paramount to an outlet's success?
It's the first interaction of every guest. You know, it's when the guests first walk in. So I think it's paramount that it starts off on a positive note. And I think we all know the saying: you only get one first impression, and which is obviously why it's very, very important.
How do you motivate your team or an individual to grow or want more?
To get them involved and invested into the dream and into the goal, and to say that what we do is not necessarily a hamster wheel. What we do is it's a ladder, or it's a set of stairs that we take to keep taking ourselves to the next plane, and to become better, not just as professionals but as people as well.
How do you encourage them to seek knowledge and skill to master their role?
I think the same way that I do, and that's getting ourselves more involved with the community. What's going on in restaurants in New York or Chicago or LA or San Francisco, and just to see what other people are doing, I think can be very, very inspiring.
Do they want to grow into your position?
I think some definitely do, and I think others might be a little bit more intimidated by the workload, but there's definitely a couple aspiring young team members that I can definitely see grow into this role.
How does this restaurant excel at training and preparing for the next step in growth?
I think it's about getting the team invested into making sure that the new team members that come on are just as good, if not better, than they are. Because that just means that it keeps pushing our standards higher. And it's just a commonality I think everybody shares that is fantastic. Awesome. Thank you very much.